It's 2 minutes past 4. Women, are we in this together? It's an important question. On the glass ceiling, we're always talking about the fight for gender equality, right? We talk about all the barriers holding women back from taking their full rightful place in society alongside men as equals. But what about all the situations where it's not men or laws holding women back? What about the situations where women hold other women back because they are women? Are we all in this together as women? Notice I've been saying women because men, no vex, I beg. But today, I mostly want to hear from women. We love to hear from men on the glass ceiling, but today I want us to talk to ourselves as women and tell ourselves some home, truths. So for the past few weeks, I've been talking about widows and what widows go through and how they shave their head and how they force them to drink the water from the bodies of their dead husbands in some places, and how they're dispossessed of their property, etc., 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 etc. And that's what's making me talk about this thing, this equality business. This is a conclusion of that conversation I've been having for the past few weeks. We've talked about all kinds of different cultural practices that are harmful to widows. So seizing their property once the husband dies, making them drink water used to bathe the corpse to prove that he did not kill their husband, compelling them to stay in one room with the body for days at a time, forcing them to marry one of the husband's relatives if they want to keep the property. And in some of our villages, if you check, if you go and find out the people who are actually enforcing or carrying out these cruel practices on widows, they're usually women. And it's not just women, no. Sometimes it's even widows themselves that are doing it to other widows. And it's not just widowhood rituals. So if you look at female genital mutilation, a lot of the practitioners who actually do the cutting are women. Most or all of them were subjected to it as children as well. And here they are doing it to another generation of girls. And I'm just curious about why they don't have any esprit de corps as women. On the glass ceiling, we talked about a lot of things that widows pass through. You called us with your stories. You told me so many things. You told me how women in the village are the ones tormenting your mothers when they are widowed, your father's female relatives, women who also have husbands, women who are widows or who will be widowed one day. And I found that very interesting. I mean, look at it this way. If the women in every village sat down for a meeting and they said to themselves, see you, this widowhood, you go also. If I know first my husband die, he go first die. If two of us no die at the same time, one of us go leave the other one. So 50% chance this widow will reach me. Make we no agree to this far again. From now, anyway in husband die, we go pet him. We no go make dead body water. Because I spent the whole night thinking about that, and I started to wonder, if women did that, if those women who typically shave your head and typically force you to be in a room and typically force you to obey all of those rites, if those women did that, wouldn't that tradition die? Even if the men all gathered together and said, Mbao, it must continue, wouldn't it turn to a struggle with an equal chance of the women winning? That's where I want us to start this conversation from. Why do you think this is not currently happening? Because we all condemn it. We all say it's a bad thing. Oh, it's bad. Oh, it's evil. But we have people who have gone through it and who are ensuring that other women go through it. Why aren't more women, both widows and widows-to-be, saying enough is enough and refusing to join in punishing widows? Why are women still actively participating in these terrible practices? If you are a widow, I want to hear from you. Did your fellow widows, well, not fellow widows, fellow women, did your fellow women put you through some of these ordeals? Did you see women do it to a widow who's close to you? Maybe your mother, your sister, maybe your auntie, your friend. What did the women to her say was their justification? I'm trying to have a conversation today that is a come to Jesus conversation. Like it's a conversation where I'm not making any judgment calls. I just don't understand. Did the women, their justification was something that you could relate with? Did they express any kind of regret, any kind of pity? If you are a woman who has partaken in some of these practices, I want to hear from you as well. What motivated you? In your opinion, are these practices justified? I really want to hear from women. And the only way I know that I'm surely going to hear from women is if I take the calls via WhatsApp. So women, WhatsApp 080 959 75805. Women only. 80 959 75805. If you're a man and you're calling the phone lines, I'm not going to pick your call. But if you're a woman calling the phone lines, I have a call screener and she's going to make sure that the only calls that she screens are from women. So if you're a man who's calling, I'll advise that you stop calling because I want to talk to the women. So sit back today and just listen. Or send us a WhatsApp message if you want to. WhatsApp is 080 959 75805. I want to hear from the women today. Why are more women not saying enough is enough? Both widows and widows-to-be. Why are more women not saying enough is enough? We've got Cecilia on the line. Cecilia is in VGC. Thank you for calling us, Cecilia.
Hello.
Your name is not. Your voice is the voice of a man. Can you believe that? So a man calls into the show and says his name is Cecilia. How did the man's voice pass through my call screener? How did that happen? I don't understand how that happened. How did that happen? Eh? Colette, how did that happen? Did they jazz you? Did they juju you? So let's talk, really, honestly. Let's talk. I want to hear from women. Why are more women not saying enough is enough? Why are more women not refusing to join to punish widows? Why are women still actively participating in these practices that are terrible? If you are a widow, did you have a woman join hands to put you through some of these ordeals? Let's hear from our first caller on WhatsApp. Hello. All right. I guess not. WhatsApp again is 0700-993-993-993. We have a lot of men who are calling in, and I don't want men to call me and explain anything. It's not your story to explain. It's for the women to talk to me. Hello. 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 Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for taking my call. My name is Mercy.
Mercy, welcome. Go ahead.
Yes, I think why women participate in inflicting these wicked practices on fellow women is how we were raised.
Okay.
For instance, there's a soccer competition among all of us for who is more beautiful. Right from when you are so young and innocent.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel we are brought to compete against one another. Look at men. Men don't work against themselves most of the time.
No, they
I don't know if
actually
you
do.
agree with me.
They actually do. They work against themselves.
Yeah, but it's not as as much as we women do, like how you walk into a room, you see another girl that is finer than you, and suddenly you just hate her. Or you walk into a room, you have an interview, and it's a woman there, and you're afraid that she'll be against you. I don't know if you've ever been in that position, Sandra.
But it's not.
For me personally.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, for me personally, when I realized we work against one another so much, I made up my mind that I'll be kind to my fellow women, even when they are wrong. Do you understand?
I do understand, Mercy.
So I think yes. So I think the reason this happens is the culture of competition. Like, she's fine. So we kind of grew up with on this unspoken but existing awareness that we should compete with against one another.
Okay.
So I get really bothered about the wickedness that is done on widows. In fact, Sandra, I'm working on something.
Okay.
I think I'll send you a message on Twitter.
Okay.
I'm super duper passionate about eradicating the wickedness against widows in Nigeria.
But can I ask you something though? I mean, assuming but not conceding that it's the competition that women are raised with that is playing out here, how about when it comes to when your husband dies? How is that competition manifesting there? How does that competition mutate into being somebody that inflicts pain onto a widow when you know that you may become a widow someday?
Yes, Sandra, I listened to, I read the interview of some of the women that maltreated their fellow widows.
Yeah.
Widows who commit the rituals.
Yeah.
Yes, like shave their head,
Yeah.
sleep in the mud and all of that.
Yeah.
They said it was done to me. Can you imagine that, Sandra?
So it was done to me. Why
It was
not?
also done.
It was also. Oh, I see. So misery loves company. I see. Mercy, thank you for calling me. We've got Cynthia in Egbeda on the line. Hello, Cynthia.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for taking my call.
Yes.
Okay, so on the topic on ground, this culture of women being architects of their fellow women's misery, it's actually it's an eyesore. It's something that happens over time. It's something that many women engage in, even without knowing that they engage in it. Firstly, our culture on its own has a lot of practices that are women endangering practices. But then you find out that women are also the ones who are actually carrying it on their head. This widowhood thing, I'm not a widow, but I know from where I'm from, when a woman's husband dies, it's still her fellow women who will come and cut her hair. And it gets so annoying that you see these women, they won't cut her hair with a clipper or anything. No. At some point, they might even use broken bottles. Like, they will make sure they inflict pain. And then when you ask, maybe, because I'm a child, they either shut me up or they say, so that she will feel the pain of the loss that she has. It's just, I think it's part of our culture that the woman has to suffer.
Yes, but that's what I'm trying to understand, Cynthia. If as a woman you've suffered this thing, why do you want another woman to suffer it?
Because the culture of silence is the women generally, we are groomed to be silent
about our pain.
About our pain. They tell you to endure. You're in a marriage, it's not fruitful. Endure. That's how your mother did it. You're going through pain. Endure. There are too many things a woman cannot do. Even when you're growing up, they're already teaching you how to be calm, how to be collected. You can't explore your emotions. You can't say things outside. You leave the home front, even if you want to talk in the home front. I'm an Igbo girl. If you want to talk in the home front, you need to go through your dad. You first talk to your dad, then your daddy will talk outside. Now you leave the home front, you get married. Now you won't have a voice until you talk to your husband. So in most of all those things, these women who are coming out to come and it's like an outlet for her. She's kept too much pain. So the only opportunity she has is to inflict pain on another woman who will also not talk.
My God.
It's just a culture of silence that keeps going around. It's really, 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 I don't know.
All right,
But
Cynthia.
thanks for talking about this.
Thank you. Thank you
so
for
much.
calling to share your theory with me. If you just joined the show, I'm wondering if this fight for equality, we are all in it together. And the first example I gave was widowhood. And I talked and I said today I mostly want to just talk to women, right? Because now we they suffer this thing. Some of us they fight, make we know they suffer am again. But some of us they say, what do you mean by you know one suffer am again? What do you mean by equality? Man and woman, how are you equal for what? Why is it that a man's wife dies and nobody's making him suffer anything? But you feel like you're equal to a man. Therefore, you should not suffer when your husband dies. Isilasi, you lie. And we have sometimes women at the forefront of some of those practices. They're the ones shaving your head. Sometimes they're the ones washing the bodies of your husband and making you drink it. Sometimes they're the ones taking you to the hut where you're going to stay for a few days with the body. Why are we not saying enough is enough as a unit? Because it's a collective experience, right? So why are we not saying enough? We're done with this. Ngozi is in Ikoyi. Hello, Ngozi.
Hello, Sandra. Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for calling.
You're welcome. The topic at hand is a very pathetic one. But for me, I feel the reason behind these acts, first of all, we have to look at this class of women that engage in these acts. When you check their age, you discover they are the older women that the culture of wherever they are coming from has eaten deep into them. And when you check many a times, a lot of them are not even educated. So exposure number one. Two, knowledge. I feel in time to come, you will discover all these things will die natural death, Sandra. Because the younger ones are more educated, they are enlightened, they are exposed. So as we are sharing it out now, people are listening. So as they grow up, they will discover that these things are barbaric. They are not supposed to be in the first place. They will begin to ask questions to the male folk. Why is it that it's only women that is engaged in this? Why are the guys not being affected? Those other women, because of the age, the generation they are coming from, they are old enough to ask these questions. Secondly, let's look at this thing in terms of this boarding school stuff. We see many times the seniors in the boarding school, when they maltreat the younger ones, you discover that many of these younger ones, by the time they get to that senior class, they do them to the younger ones because they have this belief that I passed through this. They see it as fun. So this set of women in the village, they say it as fun. Unfortunately, luckily in my own village, they don't engage in such. Good. I had a sister that just lost her husband. I knew even her hair was shaved by her own mom. They just asked her, anybody can cut the hair. So the mother used clipper and cut the hair for her. So it all depends on the environment people are coming from. It also depends on the people involved in this thing. Luckily for her, it was her mother-in-law that is even the head that period to engage in this. And she just said anybody can cut the hair for her as far as the person is a widow. And her own mom had to do it. So these are just some of the things. I think it's just enlightenment. If we can maybe probably find a way, educate these women, you will discover that all these things will die natural death, Sandra. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ngozi, for calling. We've got Rita in Festac on the line. Hello, Rita.
Hello, good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
All right. I still want to make my own contribution and observations.
Yes, go ahead.
I think one of the reasons why women carry out such is because we women hate ourselves.
Tell me why you think so.
Because you will see 7 men in a room and they will not correct.
All right, thank you for calling. But that's actually false, you know. That notion that women hate themselves is false. Have you ever been somewhere in public and your period has started without warning? And you find women who are the ones who gather. Women you don't know, strangers. They will offer you pad, they will offer you something to cover yourself with, they will take you somewhere to change, etc., etc. That happens all the time. You have a roommate who When you didn't have anywhere to stay, she'll offer you her food, she'll offer you things to eat, you could squat with her, etc., etc. So that narrative that we continue to regurgitate, oh, women hate themselves, it's actually false. Human beings hate human beings. It's the way human beings are. The way that you think women hate themselves are the way that men also hate themselves. You see two friends and you think that they're friends, but they are stealing businesses from each other. They're stealing ideas from each other. Politicians that are going to war, are they not men? But we don't focus on that one that men are doing. But women, once they have problem, because we always think that women should be pure and should not have quanta. Women are human beings. That's the entire point of equality. The entire point of equality is to see women as human beings. Period. So that means that as human beings, you will not like everybody. You will not support everybody. You will want to winch some people. That's what human beings do. Historically, human beings have done that. We've got somebody calling, claiming to be Cecilia. I hope it's really Cecilia. Hello.
Yes, so is this really Cecilia?
Okay, good to have you on the show.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sandra.
Welcome to the show.
I so thank God for the word that you're bringing us to.
Thank you.
See, in my own town, I'm an Anambra State.
Woman, okay.
Isubwe.
Okay.
When my husband died in 1997, we took him home, village, with my children. We did the burial finish. Before, in our place, if you get title, so we can stay in 3 months without bathing. If you don't have 1 month, so we stay 1 month. But the woman these days, they cut it. You can clean your body in the night. Because maybe you have menses, you can wash it out that time. But you can't do it in where people can see you that hour. So in one month, after 1 month, they call you with your village woman, them, your own village woman and the man village women, them. So when they come, one of your sister, if you have girl, when you don't born girl, the girl is the one that you will barber your hair, not outside person. Your own daughter, even though is still a baby, when you touch your head, a senior from your own family will take the razor blade and barber your head. After barbering it, that cloth that you wear, you will remove it. They will take you to the stream with your own women people. So from there, you go to the stream, they show you the stream, go and bath inside the stream. Is you getting it? No any other woman that you can enter there and bath, or man can pass there, no. It's only you one can bath there. When you bath finish, the sponge that you use bath, you throw it away from the bush there. Nobody will enter there. The mat that you use sleep there, they will burn it on the road. That one is ashes.
Now,
So
can I ask a question? When a man's wife dies, does he go through the same thing?
Man goes for our place. Man can stay for the 1 month.
Okay.
Without going anywhere.
Okay.
So after that, his man can take him to bath.
Okay.
Not woman.
So the same thing that they do to women when their husbands die in your place, they also do to men when their wives die in your place.
Yes.
Okay, that's equality.
But we are not drinking the dirty body water. We are not drinking it.
Okay.
We are not drinking it at all.
Okay. All right,
They
Cecilia.
won't do it for you. Unless you are the one who brings that in for your husband. Like say, as a woman go meet another man, he kill your husband. So other people will say, if you do anything that you will kill your husband, he said it. If you don't say it, after 1 month or 3 months, that person is following to die.
Do they do the same to men when their wives die?
If a man do like that, did the same thing, he followed. If you don't know, if he doesn't say anything about those things that he did.
But do they tell men, if you killed your wife, say it, or if you don't say it, after 1 month you will die? So, for instance, if a man goes and follows another woman, does he die because he went to follow another woman, or is it just for women who go and follow another man?
The woman that he will follow that is inside their family. If you torture any woman for their family, is going to die.
But the woman, any man at all that she touched, she will die, whether it's inside the family or outside.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Because you are in your husband's place, which is wrong for you to walk about.
But the husband is in his wife's place. It's wrong for him to walk about.
Yes, that's why they said it. If you go mistakenly like that, go touch an inner somebody.
Yes, but if he touches outside somebody, it's okay. But if the woman touches outside somebody, it's not okay.
Yes.
Why?
Because they're married.
The man is also married now.
They don't do it like that.
Why not? That's the question I'm asking. Do you think that that's fair? Do you think it's okay?
For me, if you know yourself, as a married somebody, you keep yourself holy. You keep yourself holy. Don't do like any other person that you don't have husband.
No.
Like as I was now, I can talk word within the men. But if my husband was alive, I'm not playing with them. I can't talk because I know the tradition something.
Yes, I understand. I understand what you're saying, but the conversation that we're having is, why is the treatment different for men? Why is the treatment for women not the same as for men?
It depends now.
So why is it? So why is punishment only for one but not the other?
Then they say they're having their own. For my own town, they haven't. They have.
But you said the punishment for the men in your own town is for only when they do it within the family.
Yes. Within that family, you kill them well.
But for the woman, even if it's outside the family, just like the man, it will still kill me. Is that fair?
I don't know whether they will remove it because all the whole deadly something nowadays they're removing it one by one. We women, we are not punishing ourselves again for our own town. Now you can wear white. Before now black and black. Like me, I wear black because that time. But now since then, almost 20 years now that my husband left, they are wearing white.
Okay. Cecilia, thank you so much for calling me. I really appreciate it. I really loved talking to you. But you saw you see what you see the conversation I was having with Cecilia, right? You saw the unfairness, right? Do you even think it's unfair? I'm talking to women today. If you're male, don't call me. I'm talking to only women. Do you think it is unfair? Do you think that people who think it's unfair need to stop thinking it's unfair? You're listening to The Glass Ceiling on 99.3 Nigeria Info. I am Sandra Ezekwesili.
This is The Glass Ceiling on Hard Facts. This is the Glass Ceiling on Hard Facts.
You're listening to the Glass Ceiling on Hard Facts. I am Sandra Ezekwesili. Women! Are we in this together? That's the question I'm asking on today's show. It's an important question because every Wednesday at 4 on the Glass Ceiling, we talk about all the different barriers that women face in trying to do life, period. All the barriers holding women back from taking their rightful place in society. And today, I want to talk about when those barriers are not men, or the law, or customs, or tradition, but it's women. Are we all in this together as women, this fight for equality? Are we all in this together? Now, I have a comment here from, let's see. Okay. There will never be equality between a husband and wife. A man is the head because it's the man that marries the woman, not the other way around. That is such a weird sentiment, isn't it? Because in Nigeria, where often you have the man saying to the woman, "Will you marry me?" She says yes. If she says no, you will not marry her. And now we're having more and more women proposing to men. And then you step away from Nigeria and you go to a place like India. In India, women marry men, because I know that when you talk about that men marry women nonsense, it's because of the bride price, right? In India, the women pay the dowry, and they pay an exorbitant amount in dowry. In fact, men are even choosy about which bride they marry, because they want to, take as much as possible as dowry. And yet, women are still subjugated in India. So it's not about who married who. It's simply about we do not think of women as equal to men. And you need to understand, when I say equal, I'm not saying that men and women are identical. Please, we're not. Saying that women and men are equal is not saying that men and women don't have differences. You have a penis, I have a vagina. That is one huge difference already. You have a denser bone mass than I do. There's so many differences. What we simply mean when we say equal is let the differences we have not translate to different levels of access to benefits and opportunities in the society. Period. That's it. So inheritance has been a huge conversation in Nigeria recently. Why can't I inherit simply because I have a different sex organ than you? Equal access to education. There are still some families where the woman cannot go to school because she go marry. So therefore, she's her husband's problem. Do you know that police women do not have the same marriage rules as policemen? There are positions that a man can occupy, but women cannot occupy because they're women. That's what we mean by equality. And you take it away from even like institutional things and you bring it to social things. Cecilia called me and told me that in her place, as a man, you can go outside and you will not die. But if you touch someone within the family, you will die. But you now have the women who have the additional death sentence of when you go outside or you do it inside, you will die. How is that fair? How is that equal treatment? How is that equal justice? That's all equality is. Justice, that's it. And sometimes the people who stand in the way of that justice for women are other women. Because we pivot away from widowhood for a bit. But let's stay in the family. Let's keep the conversation in the family. Let's talk about mothers-in-law and daughters-in-law. We've all heard the stereotype of the woman who makes life hell for her son's wife. It became a stereotype because it happens a lot. It happens way more often than a man tormenting his daughter's husband. We usually only hear about that situation if the woman comes from a richer home than her husband. And even then, Sev, it doesn't even happen all the time. But you see that mother-in-law versus daughter-in-law matter. That one, it happens steady. Why? What's the difference? How come when it comes to in-law matter, the relationship between women is more tense than the relationship between men? Is it because society pits women against each other more than it pits men against each other? Are we back to that insight that Mercy offered when she called? Somebody said to me that it's partly because women derive their status in society from their sons and their husbands in a way that men do not derive it from their daughters and their wives. And I wonder what you think about that. What that means is that automatically a woman is in competition with her daughter-in-law in a way a man is not in competition with his son-in-law. And I wonder whether you agree with that. Because there's something that trips me about this. That mother-in-law was a daughter-in-law once. So we're back to that practices that widows are meting out to widows. That mother-in-law was a daughter-in-law once. She also had a mother-in-law. Chances are her mother-in-law put her through the same stress. Maybe worse. So how come she's continuing the cycle? How come when she looks at that young girl, she doesn't see herself from 30 years ago? How come she doesn't see in her eyes the same fear that she felt all those years ago? How come she doesn't remember the pressure that she was put under to have a child and to be the perfect daughter-in-law for her mother-in-law? The perfect wife for her mother-in-law's son? Why is there not a more defined esprit de corps among women when it comes to these issues? Let's leave the law aside. Let's leave the men aside. Let's talk about women who can sometimes get in the way of equality. 0700-993-993-993 0700-993-993. If you're female only, call me on WhatsApp as well. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Okay. Okay, Sandra.
Hi.
Hello. Hello, Sandra.
I can hear you. Hi.
Oh my goodness, we lost it.
No. I'm here. You haven't lost it. Hello.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I am Bibi.
Ah.
I'm sorry. I thought I lost you.
Yeah. Hi.
Okay.
Just go ahead. I can hear you. Just go ahead.
Okay. You see, I really enjoyed your conversation with Cecilia. What deduced from that is the generation gap, really. You know, she being an older woman in that generation where they were practicing all those things, I know that probably, they're still practicing those things in some villages. I, in my own place, actually, I'm from Anambra State as well, and I'm from Newu precisely. I know that about the time I was a kid, and I'm in my 50s right now, actually, but I know that the time I was a kid and growing up, such things they were happening in some places. They were happening, and people, shaving of hair. But the one I never really, understood or knew about that was about the people, drinking the water from washing the body and so on. And the story I was hearing in those days wherever it happened, it was suspected that the woman killed her husband. Yeah. So the But these days, in my place, it does not happen anymore. You see, sometimes the culture is number. Sometimes culture is defeated by what? Who are you? Who is who? How your influence. And again, Christianity. One major thing that has dealt with that culture in my town is culture. I mean, it's a religion.
Okay.
Church, the born again. When the born again churches, the churches, both the Catholic and Anglican, they were revived, so to say.
Okay.
Those things, they died. Like a very close cousin of mine lost her husband last month. The burial was just last month. So what they'll be encouraging the lady not to cry, be singing, making her happy, even make her dance, and all those things about shaving hair and carrying baskets back and front from her place. So, all those things they have removed all those. Okay. And then there was this, my uncle, who passed 2 years ago. His family wasn't part of this born again thing, but he had grown old and he died at 8 or so. Okay. And his children had grown up, and we had children who are doing very well, and then the mother was supposed to come, do the is it head shaving or something? Yeah. But she went to my other uncle's wife, who is born again, and just told her that, look, she's not going to do then that they should protect her. She's not going to do this. And after all, her children have also made money. So, and nobody should touch her. So such things, there are things that, there's a place that one gets, and there are
so you're saying that the thing has levels, you understand? So depending on your status, depending on but it shouldn't be like that now.
Anybody in my town right now.
Okay.
Nobody can enforce it on anybody, and the way you've been talking about is stand up for yourself, or women stand up for other women. It is happening. It's happening these days in my place. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen anymore.
Good.
It doesn't happen anymore.
I'm glad to hear it.
If you like, but some women will still choose to shave their head for their husband because they feel it is sign of love.
Okay.
That showing the sign of love for their husband.
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with women choosing by themselves. So that's the entire point. Yeah. The entire point is to let women choose what they want to do. So if she says, I want to shave my head as a way to honor my husband, that's fine. But don't force her to do it, and then definitely don't come and shave her head by force. With a bottle.
Yes, and using broken bottle. That's my goodness. Very absurd, really. I want to touch on this women, what they say, women hating themselves and women doing this, doing that. I wouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't use the word hate, but it just took me back to when we were growing up. Girls. Is it not girls who will say, did you hear that this one? This girl is pregnant too. Hey, is it not this one? Hey, they'll go and gossip, and what is it called? Even when they will say, this one has died of abortion. He died committing abortion. Hey, it's the ladies that will now. Is this girl that will carry it? Oh, they will laugh and laugh. It's even the men that will be. What I say the older men, because I remember my uncle in those days. If we ever try to say something, he would be very angry at us.
But men gossip too. But Bibi, men gossip too. Are you watching Big Brother?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't
if you were, there are people who are listening to me. I'm not watching either, but from my social media, I know that there was a character in the house who was called Bright, and Bright was the biggest gossip in the house, and he would be knocking people's heads together, and you find that if you think about it, there are times when all you say to a guy is hello, but that guy will go and tell all his friends that he has done things with you, and you haven't done anything with that guy. So human beings gossip. It's just something that human beings do. We gossip as human beings. How come it's the one that women do that has been turned into women don't like each other or support each other? But if you think about your life, you will know that there's a number of women in your life who have supported you and even helped you and made you grow. Think about it.
A lot. It's not hatred, I will call it. It's just like, I think they want to be better. I want to be better than the other one. That's probably the best, the way I would describe it. Think of it while you are driving. You know, a woman will hardly give you another woman way. It's even when she's you know, if you are trying, if you think that you've made, you know, getting a position to now drive in front of her, and she sees that he's the woman, you know, sometimes she will just pull faster. You know, that I don't know. Is it a competition? I think the word hatred is not it. It's competition.
Competition.
So for these women, competition. So these women who do these things, like they shave hair, it happened to her. Or maybe she felt that during her own time it happened to her. Isn't this one will this one escape it?
Isn't that just wickedness? Isn't that one is not competition? That was just wickedness.
Some women, I told you in my hometown, it's not practiced anymore. Mm-hmm. But there are some women who went through it, who are angry that why is it not happening? That it should continue to happen after they went through it. You see that? So women are, you see, we are our own. I won't say enemies, you know, but we are our own undoing.
All right, Bibi. Thank you so much for calling. It was a pleasure talking to Bibi. But you see, this is such a complex conversation, right? And it's not a conversation that we can end in 1 hour. Because you see the things that we've been talking about right now, okay. You see the things we're talking about, and you just hear humanity. Because there's nothing that I just talked about with Bibi right now that you do not hear about the other gender. It's not unique to women. Like if two men are driving, you should see how my husband drives. He would never give chance to somebody that wants to enter the road, whether a man or a woman. And I'll be saying, baby, excuse me, please allow him to enter. It's not competition. You're not rushing to anywhere. So it's not unique, but women are just groomed that this is a problem that faces only you people. And it's not true. It's really not true. And if you've gone through an experience, the reason John the Baptist was the forerunner for Jesus was so that he would go and see how the world was, Abi, and make it good enough, right? Be like the messenger in a way, prepare the people. So the women who have suffered these things, why are they not taking on the role of messenger? Why are they not taking on the role of let me tell these women how it really be? Why are they not taking on the role of let me not let these younger women experience this thing I have experienced? Because as a mother, you don't want your daughter to experience some of the things that you have experienced. If you are a decent mother, just have a decent mother. You don't even need to be a good one, just decent. You typically don't want your child to experience the things you have experienced. So why doesn't that decency flow over into the kinds of practices we allow? And I'm hearing, well, I've experienced it, so, other people, why will you go scot-free? That one is wickedness. It has nothing to do with women. It's just wickedness. And that's why you find someone that is kind enough to say, I'm not shaving your head. Don't let anybody shave your head. That's a kind person doing a kind thing. And wickedness is not it's not solely owned by one gender. Because if you say, oh, women don't support women, it's not true. As a woman listening to me right now, you can count the number of women who have supported you throughout your life. You can also count the number of women who have snatched your boyfriend and the number of women who have, backstabbed you. But you know the number of men who backstab their male friends, their brothers, their business partners, who plot for their kidnapping, who plot for their murder because of business deals? The wars we're fighting in the world today, who is fighting them? If men supported men so much, why is that happening? But we don't look at this thing as clinically as we should because of the way we were raised, because of the programming in our heads. And it needs to change. Next week, we're going to focus on this daughter-in-law, mother-in-law dynamic because we didn't touch it at all. And that's the conversation I want us to have next week. Because really, women, are we in this thing together or not? This fight for equality, this fight for justice, this fight for fairness, are we in it together or not? Or do some of you feel that these fights that women are fighting against the system are not worth it? As a woman, do you believe that there's nothing specifically wrong with these systems and that the women who are agitating against them are overreacting? Next week, 4 p.m., Wednesday, keep a date with me. We're going to have this conversation right here on The Glass Ceiling. If you missed today's conversation, listen to our podcast, The Glass Ceiling Show. Search for it, The Glass Ceiling Show with Sandra Ezekwesili on any of your podcast apps and enjoy. Coming up is Perspectives. Let's talk about the impact of COVID-19 on the informal sector. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili.
Hard Facts will be right back.